Hello, it's Amy, Birds and Bees and Kids. Just say this, my magical little chill podcast without the intro and no real extra, none of that fancy shit, because who has time? Welcome to if you're watching, this is my living room, dining room. We have some very interesting things in our home. Maybe sometime I'll show you Molly. Anyway, I thought that you would love to have some support during the holidays because this is one of the biggest times that kids can get into trouble. And things get loosey-goosey. And so it's really important to have a little revisit with them about boundaries. And this episode is for parents of any old child. And if you have a neurodivergent kid, listen to the other episode for neurodivergent kids. If you don't have a neurodivergent kid, feel free to listen. Content's about the same, but there's some definite differences. Anyway, I hope you're liking this. Somebody told me they like it a lot because everything's so fake now, and I'm not AI. So how's that? Feels good. All right, so let's talk about the holidays and boundaries and consent. Okay, so first of all, the holidays, things get loosey-goosey, and supervision is kind of goes by the wayside, especially like at big family gatherings. The kids are all piled up on top of each other, running around outside. What? I know. Run, together. And sometimes, unfortunately, one of the things that can happen is that kids can play doctor, they can get involved in private parts games, and this can happen really quickly. When it happens, the kids usually know each other. They are cousins, they're best friends, they're good friends, they've hung around together a lot. They're familiar with each other. It's usually not just a random pair of kids. And at events that are big parties and stuff, that can definitely happen. But I just want you to be aware that this is a time when can shenanigans and trouble. So let's talk about what you should say to your kids. And there are book suggestions, and I know some of you have just heard this a million and one flipping times. So if you're thinking, oh, Amy, I already know all this, that's great. So I'm glad. So just talk to your kids. Oh, can you hear the Simon and Garfunkel? Because that's what I'm listening to. I checked another recording and couldn't hear it, but there he is. He's doing something about America. Anyway, so a couple things. First of all, don't assume your kids know the rules because they forget. So just remind them that it's not okay or safe to play games with their private parts. If somebody wants to look at their privates or touch them, they need to say no and come and find you and let you know. They won't be in trouble. Like this is like the biggest thing ever. They won't be in trouble. Tell them that if they're curious about somebody else's privates, to let you know because you'll find them a book or a safe place for them to learn about that. Also, remind them that older kids don't play games with private parts with younger kids. Every older kid knows that. Remind them that sometimes people might be mean and try and make them do stuff. And if that's the case, it's never their fault. And again, they should tell you. And while I'm telling you this, I'm telling you this, you need to need to remind you that you need to be really calm and chill. One of the best ways to have these conversations is to watch an Amaze video or to read a book with them to kind of take the pressure off you. What else do you want to know? Oh, okay. So the other adults. So don't let people just fucking hug and touch your kids. Because that's not fair. They lose agency. Can you imagine if you came over to my house and I was like, hey, Carrie, hey, you need to hug Carrie. Carrie wants a hug. Have a hug with Carrie. That's my husband, if you don't know who that is. I would never do that. So why the hell would you force your kid to hug or touch another person? So you need to institute the ask first rule, and you need to tell all the grown-ups around you that if you've been a huggy family, that's going away. That now you can just say the kids are old enough now that they need to practice agency, whatever it takes, because grandparents sometimes get a little weird, and also people who see themselves as safe adults. They say, well, I'm not going to hurt your child. And it's like, yeah, you're not gonna, but if we're training them that they can't say no, then some fucker's gonna maybe hurt them. So making it clear that your kid does not have to hug anybody or kiss anybody if they don't want to, doing some role play practice with them, where they get to say no. Like when you say, hey, can I have a hug? And you got to be going in for the hug. Like you can't see me, some of you, but I'm like, oh, I'm going in for the hug. Look, practice that with them so they can see what it feels like to say no and what it feels like to say yes. So you need to do that. And then you need to get in between the adults that are trying to do this with your kid and just say, hey, we're working on body boundaries. So, feel free to ask and, they may say no. So there's that. What else? During these lovely holiday parties and things, there should be one adult assigned to keep an eye on the kids. And it's on a timer, so they only have to do 15 minutes at a time. Cocktail in hand is fine. Just keeping track of who's where and what's happening lessens the opportunity for all kinds of trouble, right? Sneaking the booze. I know you never did that when you were a child or a teenager at a holiday party, just for example. So just be mindful that somebody needs to be in charge and just take turns. And if somebody thinks this is a dumb idea, then they don't get to the adult. They're not included. Like it's the adult's responsibility to keep every child safe. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can tell you. Oh, don't be a freak show. Do not be a freak show. So don't pull this shit with your kids where you're like, and if anyone tries to hug or touch you, you need to say no. Be calm, be chill. Because when you act like that, if somebody does mess with your kid, they're not going to go to you because you're already totally freaked out. I can't, not to shame anybody, but I have lots of parents over the years who have said, my child didn't tell me, or I got really freaked out. And then my kid didn't tell me because I'd been pushing so hard on the consent thing. Which leads me to one last thing. If you were sexually abused as a child or experienced some kind of assault as a child, it's going to make you more reactive if there's an incident. So just be mindful of that. And if you haven't had therapy, there's tons and tons of resources. RAINN, RAINN.org is terrific. And not to end on a downer, but because the holidays can be super fun and super crazy, and I hope you have a great time. And just be mindful. That's all. So happy holiday time. I hope you have fun stuff planned, and I hope our government situation, just in terms of people being able to, I don't know, eat or get affordable health insurance. Hi, small business owner over here, married to one. So yeah, things are not great in that department. But hey, vote. And if you are a Trumpster supporting person, please unsubscribe from everything of mine. Okay, Merry Christmas to me. Thank you. Bye.